Hello and welcome to the Election Corner on One Man Think Tank. Today I'm going to give you a very precursory look at the 2022 Senate elections. Now, given the fact that there is no map I can yet use properly to predict the 2022 Senate elections, I've just used yet another political map simulator's fabulous full Senate election map and filled in all the seats which won't be contested. And since the two Georgia seats have not yet been decided, I will leave those blank for the duration of the map process. But as it currently stands, there are 48 Democratic seats in the Senate, 50 Republican seats. Once we remove all of the races that are going to be contested in 2022, we're going to have 30 Republican seats and 35 Democratic seats. Now, to help differentiate a bit better for you, I won't be using safe as safe or likely as likely, and rather, I'll use likely as safe, leans as likely, and tilt as leans, partially because that way you can easily tell the difference between states which aren't contested and states which are, but also, vastly more importantly, I don't feel comfortable doing, tilt this far out. So, let's dive right into it and knock off all of our safe seats. So the Democrats are going to be feeling really good in many of their blue havens. So the Northeast, and the West Coast, but also Illinois is also a nice safe seat for them, as well as Hawaii. While the Republicans can feel good in, not Alaska, we'll get into that in a moment, but these states along here, running along much of the Deep South as it stands, the classical Rust Belt, and so this is what our actual map is going to look like before we get into really contested elections. And now keep in mind, depending on which parties win the Senate elections, this could be slightly different, but for right now, the Georgia Senate elections, but for right now we have 43 Republican seats as safe, 45 Democratic seats as safe. If the election comes up and is contested in Georgia, so split, then 44 seats for the Republicans, 46 seats for the Democrats, or 45 Republicans, or 47 Democrats, depending on how Georgia breaks up. Either way, we're looking at a still contestable map. So immediately I can give you let's knock off our likely states now. So Nevada, I'm putting as likely for the Democrats, as is Arizona. Both of these seats the Democrats have done incredibly well in since 2016, and both states have become increasingly blue at the federal level and at the statewide level. Another state that's likely is going to be New Hampshire. New Hampshire is consistently going blue at the federal level, however, at the local level, it is a bit more reddish. However, I have seen no indication that the current governor, Sununu, will run for the Senate seat. As such, with incumbency bias, New Hampshire is likely to the Democrats. And one last likely seat to the Democrats is Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania will go likely to the Democrats for right now, due to the fact that the incumbent, Pat Toomey, is not running again, and this seat has historically gone blue statewide. We even saw Joe Biden's quite spectacular victory in 2020, and again, victory for the Democrats in 2018, I'm getting so used to going 2020 by default now. So, for right now, likely to the Democrats, moving them to 49 seats. If they won either of the Georgia elections, they now have a majority. So, what about the Republicans? Well, Alaska, Iowa, and Florida will immediately come across as likely Republican seats for a few main reasons. These are, and Ohio too, sorry. These are already Republican seats, all of which currently have incumbents. Now, Iowa has a strong chance of Chuck Grassley retiring, indicating it will be an open election, at which point this will become a much more tense battle, but for right now, it is not, so we're going to leave it as is. But all of these have Republican incumbents and are likely Republican states, or are red states, and are basically likely at the presidential level, so for right now, they will be likely at the Senate level. Our last two seats are going to both be leans. North Carolina will be leans Republican, while Wyoming will be leans Democratic. Both of these states are lean a certain direction at the national level. However, for different reasons, they've both gone to leans. So Wyoming, this is just due to the fact the state has become noticeably more blue over the past few years, including kicking out their incumbent Republican governor in 2018, indicating that during midterms, Wyoming might be turning more blue and voting blue for Joe Biden in this most current presidential election. Well, in North Carolina, they went red in the presidential election. However, this normally red state does have a strong blue backbone, and the incumbent does have a long-standing history of corruption allegations, most recently insider trading, the same scandal that's hurting Kelly Loeffler down in Georgia's special election. So depending on how that goes, could decide the fate of the North Carolina election a bit. So we're left with 50 seats to the Democrats, 48 to the Republicans, the two extremes being 50-50, which would favor the Democrats, or 48-52, which would also favor the Democrats, meaning 2020 will probably see the Democrats pick up the Senate. So, with all that being said, drop a like and a comment down below. I will not be doing weekly updates or monthly updates on 2022 until probably 2022. But if you have an opinion or you think I'm making a bad call, feel free to drop it down there. If you want to see more from the channel, click the subscribe button and the notification bell to be alerted when new content is released. If you want to hear more from me outside of YouTube, click the subscribe button and the notification bell to be alerted when new content is released. And if you want to hear more from me outside of YouTube, click the subscribe button. I have a Twitter at OneManThinkTan1, the Roman numeral, link down in the description below. And most importantly, as always, have a wonderful day.